Welcome to sNAPAshots, conversations with professional, practicing, and applied anthropologists, produced by the National Association for the Practice of Anthropology. Meet Cathleen Crain. Cathleen has a light complexion, light hair, and wears glasses. Learn how Cathleen practices anthropology as an applied anthropologist and partner at LTG Associates. How did you get into anthropology, and what is your subfield of practice?
I fell into anthropology. I was pre-med, dropped out of school, went to a different school to be pre-med, and they said, well, you have all your prerequisites, but you don't have enough to graduate. What would you like to do? And I discovered that there was something called physical anthropology. And I said, well, that looks good, and it sounds like it would be interesting. So I enrolled. And I was seduced by the idea that systems could be changed instead of just being in relationship with someone in a clinical setting. And by the time I was done, I was still ready to apply to medical school, but then I got into a graduate program. So it was kind of a gradual step over away from medicine and into medical anthropology. So I am trained as a medical anthropologist. Much of the time I practice social cultural.
How has the anthropological perspective or training enhanced your contribution to your workplace?
My partner and I began our consulting firm many years ago, and we are the oldest anthropologically based consulting firm in North America. So every day in every way, I use my anthropology, except when I'm doing, evil administrative tasks, and then I'm not an anthropologist. But it's infused through everything we do. But we have been a firmly anthropology-based organization. So I haven't had to adapt within the company. I adapt today to our clients.
What types of industry challenges or problems do you get to help solve with this anthropological lens?
What gets me up in the morning are really complex problems, wicked problems, they're called, the ones that make your brain hurt. That gets me up in the morning. And I think that uses the synthetic vision of anthropologists best. No wicked problem is simple. It's why they're wicked problems. And anthropologists and anthropology make us understand the complexity of the context, the environment, the situation, and knit it together as a cognitive whole. So I look for complexity. If it's too easy, it's not fun.
What anthropological skills do you use in your field?
The discipline that each of the subdisciplines has taught me. We walk into somebody else's space, not knowing the language, not knowing the culture, not knowing where we're going necessarily. And the discipline that I learned and that I embrace, and it's more than discipline, it's logic, but it's also the freedom to work from that logic into places that we don't know, we don't understand. And to know that I always have a tether back to my disciplinary tools and roots.
Do you recall a moment that changed the way you practiced anthropology?
I was the first clinical anthropologist as far as I can tell, in Southern Ontario, because I went to school in Canada. And I was actually called an anthropologist. But that wasn't the pivot point for me. It was brilliant. It was wonderful. The pivot point for me was a few years later. I was running a refugee health program in San Francisco. And I met this very interesting person who was running a research project, and my project became a subject of that. And we became colleagues and friends, and we began to talk about a vision of how things should work, and the fact that we didn't see them working as well as they should be, particularly for communities at need, vulnerable, at-risk communities. And it turned out that he was an anthropologist as well. And when we were both ready to move on from the jobs that we had, we were talking one day and we said, we should do something together. We should do something that allows us to enact our vision of how things should work. And I do believe that the day we started our firm was the day I became a real anthropologist, because I had a place from which to be that anthropologist, and not every day and with every client, but at home in the firm, we are clearly anthropologists. And that was so freeing for me to evolve as an anthropologist and to live into my skills and my vision of how things could be. That was the pivot for me.
What is the one thing about the practice of anthropology that nobody told you as a student?
The thing I think nobody tells students who are going to go out into the world and be professional and practicing anthropologists is that they will need other anthropologists. They will need people who speak their language, who understand their perspective, who get the complexity of the places they go and the things they try to accomplish. And without that, it's not only lonely, it's hard to be grounded in the knowledge that you're doing good work. Or to have someone who can say, if you think of it this way, it will probably help you to work better. Without those peers, it's very, very difficult, I think, to be a professional or practicing anthropologist. So I think that's something that hasn't been taught in the past. I think it is in some of the programs that I see now, the programs that are specifically focused to practicing anthropology. I see them much more team-based and much more network-oriented. But you've got to have friends.
What message would you like to pass on to future practicing applied anthropologists?
The potent skills that anthropologists have. The limitations of where you can go and what you can do are few. With that comes a responsibility for, and I keep coming back to the word discipline, but it's self-discipline. To be a disciplined, ethical anthropologist, and to be transparent about your purpose and the outcomes with everyone with whom you work. Somebody said, what can anthropologists do? And I said, the only limitations to what we can do are imaginations. I believe that still. If you can imagine it, you're likely to be able to find a place to do it and to be useful. And at the end of the day, most of us really, really want to be useful, to make a difference.
Thank you, Cathleen Crain, for sharing your experience as a practicing and professional applied anthropologist. For more SNAPAshots, find us here, practicinganthropology.org, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Meta.